contempt of lawful authority of public servant. So far we have discussed up to section 84. Section 185 of the IPC provides illegal purchase or bid of property offered for sale by authority of public servant. What it provides, suppose a public servant who has been authorized to sell any property on public auction, whoever illegally bids or illegally purchase is not permitted under law to purchase or to bid in that purchase is also liable for punishment. What it provides, whoever at any sale of property held by the lawful authority of public servant. First, a property is going to be sold. That is as per the authority of public servant. As such, purchases or bids for any property at any sale of property held by a person who purchases or bid any property on account of any person, either for him by himself or any other, whom he knows to be under a legal incapacity to purchase. He knows that under a legal incapacity he cannot purchase, or any other person cannot purchase, or he purchases or makes a bid, or to perform the obligation under which he lays himself by such bidding, shall be punished with imprisonment for either destined for a term which may extend to 1 month. If a person knows he is taking part or he has an obligation not to bid, he lays himself by such bidding, then he is liable for punishment. Section 186 provides obstructing public servant in discharge of public functions. When a public servant is discharging his duty, if a person, if anybody obstructs him in discharge of his duty, he is liable for punishment under section 186. What it provides? Whoever voluntarily obstructs any public servant, voluntarily, intentionally is not, voluntarily obstructs any public servant in the discharge of his public function, shall be punished with imprisonment for either discretion for a term which may extend to 3 months. Here intention is not there, voluntarily obstructs in the discharge of his public duty, that is punishable with imprisonment up to 3 months or with fine which may extend to 500 rupees. 186, that is section 186. So it may say general provision for the obstruction of a public servant. It is a general provision, whoever obstructs the public servant in discharge of his office or public duty voluntarily, so that is, if it is a judicial officer, any obstruction will amount to a contempt of court. Suppose a judicial officer is there, that will, any obstruction discharging of his official duty, that will be contempt of court, and is as such somewhat punishable under section 345 CRPC. There is a provision, and also under section 178, 5, 78, 79, 80 to 80 of the IPC. What is to be noted is that the obstruction must be caused during discharge of his duty of the time of voluntarily in this section indicates that the offense must be done or as distinguished from mere passive conduct. He must some voluntariness. Obstruction, what is obstruction? Any act in the nature of violence or show violence, or to prove obstruction. Some violence is shown. It is not necessary that there should be actual criminal force, simply obstruction. So here, verbal objection to discharge of public function by public servant therefore does not amount to obstruction. But some act must be there, causing obstruction. Where the accused had made aggressive or menacing action without uttering threats such as to give rise to a real threat, when there is a threat in abuse of force or preventing the public servant from duty, that will be punishable under section 186. Section 187 provides omission to assist public servant when bound by law to give assistance. You know, under the criminal procedure code, in certain circumstances, in certain cases, in some cases, the member of a public is bound to give help to the police for the arrest of a person. So here, when police demands the help of a person for arrest of a person who is an escaped convict or escaped person or apprehending a person, in such case, such member of the public is legally bound to give such assistance. If he doesn't give assistance, knowingly, that is punishable under section 187. whoever being bound by law to render or furnish assistance to any public servant in the execution of his public duty. A person who is bound by law to give assistance to whom? To a public servant. Who is a public servant? Public servant that has been defined in the Indian Penal Code section 21. Public servant in the execution of his public duty intentionally omits to give such assistance. He is legally bound. If he is not legally bound, this section is not attractive. The public, any member of the public who is law requires that he should give assistance. In such case, he is legally bound to give assistance to public servant in the execution of his public duty. So, intentionally omits to give such assistance shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month or with fine, or which may extend to 200 rupees. And if such assistance be demanded to him by a public servant legally competent to make such demand for the purpose. If a public servant legally competent to make such demand for the purpose, in execution, if any lawful process means warrant issued by a court of justice, or preventing the commission of an offence, is legally bound to give assistance to a public servant, or by preventing the commission of offence, or of suppression of riot, or an affray, or apprehending a person charged with or guilty of an offence, of an escape from any lawful custody, the punishment is more, shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months or with both, with fine which may extend to 500 rupees or with both. 188 is a section, it is very commonly used for disobedience to order duly promulgated by public servant. We have previously discussed while discussing on the criminal procedure code. Suppose if there is an order by the executive magistrate on section 133, that is for removal of public nuisance, if he disobeys, then he is liable for punishment under section 188 of the Indian Penal Code. It has been specifically provided in this section. What section 188 provides? Disobedience to order duly promulgated by public servant. There must be due promulgation. It must have been informed to the concerned person. Unless promulgation is not there, and this section 188 will not be applicable. First, there is an order of a public servant. That order has been duly promulgated, published, communicated, and thereafter, any person who is bound to obey that order, he disobeys. Then section 188 is applicable. What it says? Whoever knowing that by any order promulgated by a public servant, suppose 144 order is there, 145 order is there, that has been under section CRPC, 144 CRPC, prevented directing a person not to go to a particular place, or to pass some order has been passed for keeping peace under the criminal procedure code, that has been duly promulgated, and the person knowingly disobeys it. So what it provides? Whoever knowing that by an order promulgated by a public servant lawfully empowered to promulgate such order, the person knows that an order has been duly promulgated, that order has been passed by a public servant, and that public servant is legally authorized to pass such order, and is directed to abstain from certain act because of such order. By such order, that person has been directed to refrain from doing such act, or to take certain order with certain property. Direction has been given that he will take certain order in respect of certain property in his possession or under his management. Disobey such direction. He disobeys such direction shall, if such disobedience causes or tends to cause obstruction, annoyance or injury, or risk of obstruction, annoyance, injury to any person lawfully employed, if such disobedience causes what? Obstruction, annoyance or injury, or risk of obstruction, annoyance or injury to any person lawfully employed, be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 200 rupees or with force. And if such disobedience causes or tends to cause danger to human life, suppose there is a order that disobedience will cause, disobedience of the order of the public servant is likely to cause, is such disobedience to cause danger to human life or health or safety or cause or tend to cause a riot or affray shall be punished with imprisonment for either description of a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine may extend to 1,000 rupees, or with both. In this corona pandemic, suppose there is an order duly promulgated by the competent public servant to pass such order, and that is not obeyed, and thereby that will cause danger to human life or health, human health, then section 188 may be applicable in such case. So, person knows that a particular order has been passed by a public servant, and that public servant is competent to pass such order, and by such order he has been directed not to, either to do certain act or not to do certain act, he disobeys such act. Then two part, that if it is danger to human life or health, etc., then the punishment is more, that is of 6 months. In any other case, in a lawful employed, or if obstruction, annoyance, or injury will be caused to any person lawfully employed, that is punishable with 1 month imprisonment, simple imprisonment, extend to 1 month of simple imprisonment, and to 200 rupees fine. But here, in case of may extend to 6 months, either imprisonment, punishment with imprisonment for either description, that is either rigorous or simple, for 6 months, and with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees. It is not necessary that the offender should intend to produce harm or contemplate his disobedience is likely to produce harm. So it is not necessary that the offender should, there must have an intention of the offender to cause harm or to contemplate that it's because of such disobedience that is harm. It is not necessary, because he is bound to obey. Here intention is immaterial. If he disobeys that obstruction, that order, and thereby that such disobedience causes any danger to human life, etc., that is punishable. So intention is not immaterial. It is sufficient that he knows of the order. What is to be proved? That there is an order of the public servant. By that order, that a public servant is competent to pass such order, and because of by such order, some direction has been given to a particular person either to do or not to do something, and he disobeys that order. That is, this section 188 is applicable. This section prescribes the punishment disobedience of the lawful order. It is the lawful order of the public servant. When the disobedience results in any of the consequence that is outlined in the second and third clause. Second clause, that is punishable with imprisonment 1 month, but third clause, that is punishable with imprisonment of 6 months, either description. So if the alleged disobedience does not cause, is not rendered to cause obstruction, annoyance, or injury, then second clause will not sustain. So this is very important. So you should, again, there must be an order promulgated by a public servant. The public servant must have the empowered to promulgate such order. The accused must have disobeyed such order. Such disobedience must have caused or tend to have caused or obstruction, injury, annoyance, or risk to person lawfully entered, or danger to human life, health, safety, etc. Now, section 189, threat of injury to public servant. Whoever holds out any threat of injury to any public servant or to any person in whom he believes that service person to be interested, what for? For the purpose of intending that the public servant to do any act or to forbear or to delay to do any act connected with the execution of his public function of such public servant shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years, or with fine, or with fault. Suppose a revenue inspector is a public servant. He has been asked to give a report. Suppose somebody threatens, you give this report in this manner, otherwise I will cause injury to you or to your son. So, which that public servant is interested? What for? The purpose is inducing that public servant to do any act, or to forbear to do any act, or to make a delay in causing an act, that is punishable with imprisonment either description for a term which may extend to what? 2 years. 190. Threat of injury to induced person so refrain from applying for protection to public servant. Similarly, every citizen has a right to take protection from the public servant. Suppose when a person, whoever holds out any threat, there is a threat of injury to any person for the purpose of inducing that person to refrain or desist from making legal application for his protection. If a threat is given to a person that so that he will refrain from making an application, he will refrain or to desist from making an application to the public servant for his protection against an injury to any public servant, legally empowered to as such to give such protection. This police officer, if say somebody says it will give report to the police that I will kill you and that I will cause injury to you or I will cause injury to your property or to your house, this section is attractive because whoever holds out any threat of injury, a person holds any threat of injury to whom? To any person. What is the purpose? Purpose for inducing that person so that he will not apply to any public servant for his protection against such injury to any injury to any public servant legally empowered to as such to give such protection or to cause such protection to be given shall be punished in imprisonment by either direction which may extend to 1 year and shall also be liable to fine. Section 189, 190 punish criminal threats. Both these sections. Section 189 threat or injury to a public servant or here to a private person is threatened so that he will not take help of the public servant for his protection. In both the cases, that is threat is one of the ingredients. Threat affecting a public servant. The former is intended when threat is directed against the public servant himself, while the latter is against the person who seeks the protection of the public servant. So here, this is section 188. Now, let us discuss the provisions in chapter 26 regarding false evidence and offences against public justice. What it says? This chapter 11 deals with the offences, but relating to false evidence and offences against public justice. So here, in this chapter, we will discuss the false evidence, that is relation to proceeding in court, the offence enumerated from that is giving false evidence or fabricating false evidence. That is from section 191 to 93. That is given in fabricating false evidence. So here, now other provisions are not in court. So the offences can be categorized into two groups. First, giving or fabricating false evidence, that is section 191 to 200. This may be further, that may be divided further 192, giving false evidence or fabricating false evidence. This is from section 191 to 200. These sections may be further categorized, that is giving false evidence section 191, fabricating false evidence section 192. Sometimes there is a confusion. What is giving false evidence? What is fabricating false evidence? When false evidence is discussed, it always comes to the mind that evidence is given in a court of law. But, or if the fabricating evidence means that evidence must be given to a court of law. But that is not confined. So even that may be given to evidence for anything before a public servant. Punishment, that is, let us, the offences against public justice, that is 201 to 229A, that is the second category. Aggravated form of giving false evidence, that is from section 194, 195. Offences punishable the same as giving fabricating 196 to 200. So these offences from section 191 to 200 are confined, deal regarding the offense giving of fabricating false evidence or giving false evidence. Now the other 201 to 299, these are offences against public justice. These are the offences against public justice, that is causing disappearance of evidence, false personation, abuse of process of court of justice, false charge of an offence, screening or harboring offenders, offences against justice, resisting the law, violation of condition of remission, contempt court, etc. Now let us see false evidence. What is section 191? It is a very, very important provision. Giving false evidence. We say, sometimes we say it is a perjury. Whoever being legally bound by an oath. What is false evidence? A person who is legally bound by an oath or by any express provision of law to state the truth. Two requirements. First, a person who is legally bound by oath to tell the truth, or a person who is by express provision of law. There is a express provision of law, thereby he is bound to tell the truth, or being bound by law to make a declaration, not only telling, or the law requires that he should make a declaration upon any subject. Three conditions. Legally bound by law bound by oath to tell the truth, or bound by express provision of law to tell the truth, or as per any provision of law is to give a declaration upon any subject. Declaration must be given. So here you might have seen a declaration is taken while making filling a form. Somebody gives a declaration. Many cases you give a declaration. The facts stated are true to the true, and he gives a declaration. So three things: legally, there is an oath, legally bound by oath to tell the truth, or as per the express provision of law is required to tell the truth, or being bound by law to give a declaration, makes any statement which is false and which he either knows or believes to be false. Three things. He knows which is false. Totally, as aware that is a false. Or he knows or believes to be false. That is two difference. Mark the difference. False statement, or he knows or believes. He doesn't know, but he knows it may not be a correct statement. He knows or believes to be false, or believe to be false, or does not believe to be true. Again, it has been clarified. Doesn't believe to be true is said to give false evidence. If a question is asked to you, what is false evidence? False evidence. False evidence doesn't mean that giving a false statement in court of law. In court, sometimes it comes to your mind, unless evidence is given in court, how? And a false statement is given, a false thing is stated in court, false thing is deposed in court, how will it be treated as a false evidence? But section 191, if you go to the ingredients of this section, what it says? Whoever legally bound by oath, whoever being legally bound by oath, there is by an oath or by any express provision of law, either he has taken oath in the court or before somebody to tell the truth, or he is legally bound by any express provision of the law to tell the truth, to state the truth, or being bound by law to make a declaration upon any subject, declaration on any subject, and makes any statement. Any statement is very important. Makes any statement, even whether that is relevant or not relevant, makes any statement which is false. Any statement which is false, and first false, or he knows or believes to be false, or does not believe to be true. He knows or believes to be false, or does not believe it to be true, is to give false evidence. So why I am telling it that you must not be confused. False evidence must be, if somebody says what is false evidence, you will say false evidence means evidence given falsely in court. That is false evidence. No. Here what section 191 provides? A person who is legally bound by oath to state the truth, or by any express provision of law to bound by law to make a declaration, is express provision of law to state the truth, or being bound by any express provision of law to tell the truth, either by oath to tell the truth, or by express provision of law to state the truth, or by makes or bound by, or is being bound by any law to make a declaration on any subject, he makes a false statement. He makes any statement which is false, or which is either he knows to, or believes to be false. Either what is there, either he knows or believes to be false, or believe to be false, or does not believe to be true, is said to give false evidence. Two explanations are very relevant. What is explanation? A statement is within the meaning of this section, whether is made verbally or otherwise. So statement doesn't mean only a verbal statement, even written statement or any sign. In sign is a dumb and person, he gives a statement in sign language. That is also a statement. So what is state? Statement is within the meaning of this section, whether is made verbally or otherwise. Then explanation. A false statement is a false statement as to the belief of the person attesting is within the meaning of this section. So here somebody is attesting a false statement. A false statement as to the belief of the person attesting is a person who is attesting, who is supporting, attesting, confirming, is within the meaning of this section. And a person may be guilty of giving false evidence by stating that he believes a thing which he does not believe. If he believes a thing to be true which he does not believe, as well as by stating that he knows a thing which he does not know. Even a person doesn't know, he gives a statement that he knows. Or here, a false statement as to the belief of the person attesting is within the meaning of this section. And a person may be guilty. So that a statement as to the belief of the person attesting is within the meaning of this section. That is who is attesting it, that is also stated. And a person may be guilty of giving false evidence by the stating that he believes a thing which he does not believe, as well as by stating he knows a thing which he does not know. If you go to the illustration, it will make you clear. A, in support of a just claim which B has against Z for 1,000 rupees, falsely swears on a trial. A, in support of a just claim which B has as a just claim against Z. B has filed a suit against Z. But A falsely swears on the trial that he heard Z admit the justice of B's claim. A has given false evidence. A, second illustration, A being bound by oath to state the truth. A bound by oath to state the truth states that he believes a certain signature to be the handwriting of Z. He believes that certain signature is the handwriting of Z when he does not believe it to be the handwriting of Z. He doesn't believe that it is the handwriting of Z, but in a proceeding, judicial proceeding, or before a court, or before a particular officer, on oath states that that is the handwriting of Z. Here A states that which he knows to be false, that is, thereby he gives a false evidence. A, knowing the general character of Z, this illustration will again make you clear. A, knowing the general character of Z's handwriting. General character because Z's handwriting, any letter he had received from Z, he knows the general handwriting. State that he believes a certain signature to be handwriting of Z. He believes A in good faith, believe it to be so. Here A what? Statement is merely as to his belief. And therefore, although this signature may not be the handwriting of Z, he has not given false evidence. Because he says only belief. But here, in other case, he states that it is true. It is true. So, A being bound by an oath to state the truth, state that he knows that Z was at a particular place on a particular day, not knowing anything upon the subject. So here A gives false evidence whether Z was at that place on the day named or not. A, an interpreter or translator, gives a certificate. Here is attesting. Certificate as a true interpretation or translation of a statement or document which is bound by oath to interpret or to translate truly that which is not and which he does not believe to be a true interpretation. He doesn't believe that it is a true interpretation, true translation. He certifies. Here A has given false evidence. Why I am telling false giving false evidence? You should know what is false evidence. False evidence means what? Not giving evidence in court falsely. But what it says? Whoever being legally bound by oath or by an express provision of law to state the truth. There must be express provision. Law requires, there is a clear provision in any law that he will tell the truth, or being bound by law to make a declaration upon any subject. Being bound by law to make declaration on a subject. Makes any statement which is false. Makes any statement which is false and which either knows or believes to be false or does not believe to be true is to give false evidence. Here in this connection, if you go through the provision in section 161 of the Criminal Procedure Code, what it provides, what the Criminal Procedure Code provides, that is, there during investigation somebody is required to tell the truth. So whether the offense intent to be covered under this section is offense of perjury. It is called perjury in English law. So English law we say perjury. According to English law, perjury as stated in Hallsfield Law, a person is by statute guilty of the crime of perjury if he lawfully sworn as a witness or as an interpreter, either sworn as a witness or an interpreter in his judicial proceeding. He lawfully makes a statement material in that proceeding which he knows to be false or does not believe to be false. So here, there should be at least two witnesses to convict a person of the offense of perjury in English. In English law, there must be at least two witnesses to convict. But here, that is in section 191, this comprises of the following 5 elements. First you understand. What are the 5 elements? First, a false statement by a person false statement is given by a person who is bound by oath to tell truth. Second, third, by an express provision of law he is required to tell truth, or he gives a declaration which a person is bound by law to make any such declaration on that subject, or whose statement or declaration is false and who believes or knows to be false or does not believe to be true. So, 3 essential, there must be a legal obligation to state the truth, the making of false statement, belief in its falsity. So, here this is perjury. So, this is legally bound by law to tell the truth. Only when a statement is made by a person bound by an oath to speak. So if a person under section 161 of the CRPC is not taking any oath, so in such case, legally bound by oath is not there, but if an express provision of law is there that he will tell the truth, the main purpose of administering oath is to what? To render person, that is, he should tell truth. The main purpose, that is liable. False statement to be intentionally made in order to constitute an offense under this section. 3 criteria are to that: the statement was false, the person making the statement knew or believed to be false, and that such statement was made intentionally. If the accused gives a false statement, It is no doubt that open with the whoever. But hereby, however, the position of an accused stands as a different footing because under Article 223 of the Constitution of India, that no person accused of an offence shall be compelled to be witness against himself. So, if accused gives a false statement, that this perjury will not be applicable. As per Section 3, a court is a CRPC. A court is given the power to examine an accused in a trial or in an inquiry. So here, now a question may be put, can the court so much to take cognizance for the offence of giving false evidence? That is, or fabricating false evidence. Suppose in a court, the court finds, the magistrate or a civil judge, while trying a case or a suit, finds somebody is giving a false statement. Can that magistrate so much to take cognizance of the offence under Section 190? The answer is no. He cannot take. But a complaint will be made before the other court who is competent to take cognizance. That is because natural justice demands that the court should make a complaint. That court will be complainant for giving this false evidence. Because on Section 195 of the CRPC, there is such a provision is there, that is some cognizance, there is restriction. Whoever causes, so here there may be complaint for taking cognizance. Then false evidence, then another provision is fabricating false evidence. What is fabricating false evidence? Fabricating means what? Making, creating, fabricating. Whoever causes any circumstances to exist or make any false entry in any book. First, a person makes a circumstances to exist or makes any false entry in a book or record or electronic record. Book, record, electronic record. It creates, whoever causes any circumstances to exist. He causes any circumstances to exist or makes any false entry in any book or record or electronic record, or makes any document or electronic record containing a false statement. Circumstances to exist. Whoever causes any circumstance to exist or makes any false entry in any book, record or electronic record, or makes any document or electronic record containing a false statement. What for? Intending that such circumstances, false entry or false statement may appear in evidence in a judicial proceeding. Whoever causes any circumstances to exist. He creates, there must be circumstances. He causes circumstances. In this case, the best illustration is there. Sometimes you are confused when a problem comes. In order to create a circumstance that B has committed theft of a particular gold ornament, put that particular gold ornament in the box of B. So here, what offence he committed? That is a fabricating false evidence. Because circumstances, this illustration will take, A puts jewels into a box belonging to Z. A puts jewel in a box belonging to Z. What is? With the intention that they may be found in that box and that these circumstances may cause Z to be convicted of theft. He has fabricated false evidence. This is whoever causes any circumstances to exist by creating, by putting some jewel in the box belonging to B or belonging to Z, A intended that so that Z will be prosecuted and will be convicted. So here that amounts to the commission of fabricating false evidence, or makes any false entry in any book or record or electronic record. Falsely somebody is intending making any entry either in a book or in a document or in any record or electronic record, or makes any document, false document. Somebody creates false papers, false vouchers. That is fabricating false evidence, false documents. Record containing false statement. What for intention? Intention that such circumstances, false circumstance, false entry, false statement may appear in evidence in a judicial proceeding or in a proceeding taken by law before a public servant, not only judicial proceeding, or a proceeding taken by law before a public servant as such, or before an arbitrator, even false entry, false circumstances may be intention to such statement may appear in evidence before an arbitrator or before a public servant as such, or and that such circumstances, false entry or false statement, so appearing in evidence, may cause any person who in such proceeding is to form an opinion. Second, and which are such that such person before whom such false fabricating false evidence will appear may cause form an opinion of such evidence, to entertain an erroneous opinion, or to form an opinion on that evidence, or to entertain an erroneous opinion touching any point material to the result of such a thing. You will make an erroneous opinion touching any point material to the result of such proceeding is said to fabricate false evidence. Why I am telling two sections are very important. Sometimes we skip off. What is false evidence and what is fabricating false evidence? Fabricating means creating, manufacturing. Here fabrication, you know, fabrication, somebody is making a thing, you may say, whoever causes any circumstance to exist, or he makes a false entry in which either in book or in electronic record or in any register, or creates any false document, or here false document is not there, making or makes any document, false document is not there, here makes any document or electronic record containing a false statement, makes a document or electronic record containing a false statement. What is that? The intending that such circumstance, false entry or false statement in document may appear in evidence in a judicial proceeding, or in a proceeding taken by law before a public servant as such, either in a judicial proceeding or a proceeding taken by law by a public servant in his capacity as a public servant, or before an arbitrator. And second inquiry and second ingredient, and such circumstances, false entry, false statement, so appearing in evidence may cause any person who in such proceeding is to form an opinion in that judicial proceeding, or that public servant or an arbitrator will form an opinion upon such evidence, or to entertain in erroneous, or to entertain an erroneous opinion touching any such material to the result of the proceeding is said to fabricate false evidence. That will appear in any judicial proceeding or any public servant or before an arbitrator. So these two sections are very important. You should know what is false evidence and what is fabricating false evidence. Fabricating false evidence and false evidence. These are very two important sections. You should know. Let us conclude. In the next class, we will